Homesteading Barbie. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make your own potting soil so we can finally plant those seeds that we started a few weeks ago. So in this box I have my homemade compost. So it's going to be a third that. In this box I gathered some sphagnum moss or peat moss from my yard. That's going to be a third of that. And in this box is some perlite. So it's going to be a third of that. So we're just going to do exactly like I said. So I'm going to take some of the sphagnum moss. I'm just going to tear it up into little pieces. If you don't have sphagnum moss, you can use coco coir, you can use vermiculite, anything that helps disperse that water properly. So I've got my handy little trowel here. I'm just going to do a scoop of the perlite and also a scoop of the compost. And I'm going to mix that up. And I'm going to show you the next step. Okay, I have my tomato seeds in my little plastic bag greenhouse that I did the other day. I have let these go way too long, so they've got these big long roots, but I think it's going to be okay because I'm just going to be really, really gentle. So I'm going to take an egg carton. You can use just regular little potting soil cups or whatever. This is a nice thing that is free if you buy eggs that you probably have on hand. I'm going to take a nail and just puncture the bottom here. The other thing that I really, really like about doing it this way is when you're ready to plant, I just break one of these off and I can plant this whole thing and this cardboard will just decompose. So I don't have to disrupt the roots at all, which is a really big deal when you have fragile little plants that don't want to be disturbed. Transplanting is the most traumatic thing that you can do to your plants. So the less trauma that you can give them while you're doing that, the better. Okay, so I have my little egg carton with all my little holes poked in. And I'm just going to fill up with my dirt. You want to tear up that sphagnum moss really well so you don't end up with like weird chunks like that. Okay, just like that. And then we are going to take our water and I'm going to give that a really good soak. Just really get it nice and wet. Now, when your soil is fragile like this is in a really fragile state, so you don't want to just blast it with some water. You really need to be a little bit gentle with it. And notice I'm putting water on it before I plant. This will help not disrupt the root as much as possible. We want to be super duper gentle at this point because those roots are just babies, baby plants. So we give this a really, really good soak. This soil is so, so dry. You really can't get it too wet. Okay. And so throughout the day, you're going to want to check this or maybe even put a little bit of water in the bottom because if it's a nice hot day, these do have a tendency to dry out because they're so small and shallow, which is what's kind of nice about them, so that the root really has an opportunity to, if you go too big too fast, the root is going to try and find the bottom to be able to push up. So you really want to give it the best chance possible. So these little ones are nice to start off with. So I'm just going to take my nail and make a little hole for my root to go in. You can do this part with tweezers or just use your little nail to kind of poke it down in there. Normally your root is not going to be this big. I let it go a bit long, but it's going to be okay. So that you know that if it does get that long, you should be fine. When you're getting it out of here, you want to be nice and gentle. My roots have just gone crazy. That's a nice one. So this one has almost that first little cotyledon. Okay, so now that we've got them all planted, another great thing we can do in these trays is fill it up with water and let it soak it in from the bottom so that it's just kind of soaking in. And then also the cardboard gets wet, so it's much harder for it to dry out, which is great. And then we have a couple of options. You can put cling wrap over it. This will make a nice little greenhouse effect, keep the evaporation down, as well as make it a lot more warmer in there, which will be a really wonderful thing. You can use a clear plastic tub lid and make that like a little makeshift greenhouse. You can also use a heating pad if it's really cold in your area so that they don't get too cold, because right now the biggest thing would be if they were to get cold or dry out. That would be like two of your major things that are going to just destroy your sweet little seeds. You want to give them the best start possible and the best possible chance at life that they can. So from here, I would either plant them in a larger cup, which I do a lot because they'll grow out of this pretty quickly, and then you put them in a larger little cup, or if the weather permits, I can just stick them right in the garden, or sometimes I'll do one of each, you know, a few of each, just so that I have a better possibility of them surviving, because the more I plant, the more I have the possibility of survival that I have. So I hope that you try this with your little seedlings, and I hope that this helped you. And if it did, please like, share, and subscribe. And thank you as always for watching.